Every time you say, I'm celibate, you might be putting a word curse on your marriage and you don't realize it. Most Christian women confuse celibacy with abstinence, and this misunderstanding can be blocking the very blessing they're praying for. Hey, beautiful. My name is Jumoke Win, and if you've been calling yourself celibate while hoping for marriage, this video will change the way you speak over your future. But before we continue, make sure that you do like, subscribe, and you hit that bell so that you can continue to get more great notifications. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand the biblical difference and why your words matter more than they think. By the way, ignore this very generic background that I have going on. We just moved, still getting settled in. I'm going to change these photos, but okay, so no one's like, what's going on in the background? But anyways, let's jump into it. Okay, let me first start with the definitions most Christians get wrong. Celibacy means abstaining from marriage forever. It is a lifetime vow of singleness, okay? That means you are single and sexless for life. For example, when nuns, they take a vow of celibacy, they're promising, God that they'll never have a husband or children. Jesus is their husband, that's it. They're dedicating their permanent singleness to kingdom service. That is celibacy, okay? And, you got nuns, you have the Pope, you have monks, you have sometimes priests. They take a vow of celibacy. Now, abstinence means waiting until marriage. You're abstaining from sex for a period of time, right? Usually it's until your wedding night. Now, can you abstain and fornicate? That's a whole different story, but just the definition of abstinence means to abstain from sex, okay? It's different. And I used to make this mistake too. I would say things like, I'm celibate, right? Thinking I sounded so spiritual. I used to think that celibacy or saying that you're celibate means that essentially you're Christian and you're abstinent. And I confused this term a lot and I thought I was sounding so spiritual. But really, I'm speaking that over my life, right? I'm speaking essentially a curse over my own future. I'm telling God, hey, I choose permanent singleness, even though I desperately wanted marriage. Like my words and my heart was not aligned. So I'm saying I'm celibate. I'm celibate. Celibacy means that you're taking a vow of celibacy. That means you are abstaining from marriage, right? Now, when it comes to words, you can't say that you're celibate until marriage because it's kind of contradictory. It's like saying I'm divorced until I'm married, right? Or I'm dead until I come alive. I don't want to say opposites of each other, but in a way, like celibacy is the opposite of marriage in a weird way. But here's what scripture actually says. It says in 1 Corinthians 7, like, where are we getting all this from, right? Besides the dictionary definition, where do we find this in the Bible? In 1 Corinthians 7, Paul says that he wishes everyone could be single like him. But he adds, each person has a special gift from God of one kind of another. Because Paul had a gift of celibacy. But notice he called it a gift, and not everyone has it. Most people are actually called to marriage. And in Matthew 19, Jesus talks about those who decide to live like eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Notice that word choose. Celibacy can either be a gift that someone has, or it's voluntary. Which it could be voluntary and a gift, or it could be either or, right? It's voluntary, but it's not something that's forced on you. Okay. And 1 Corinthians 7:9 says, if they cannot control themselves, they should marry, for it's better to marry than to burn with passion. So if you're someone who's burning with passion regularly, fighting with demons of lust every month during ovulation, you probably don't have a gift of celibacy and you're called to marriage, right? And God's solution to sexual temptation isn't lifelong celibacy, it's marriage. So if you have an active sex drive, you want to have sex, you want to have kids, and you're calling yourself celibate, you're not really, that's not the answer. The answer is marriage. The answer is that you should get married, not that you should force yourself into a lifelong celibacy. Okay. And here's what happens when you keep saying, I'm celibate, right? You're making that declaration over your life and your future, but it contradicts where you want to go. And we have to remember that there's power of life and death in the tongue, right? Like we have a lot of power in our tongues and how we're speaking. And we're constantly declaring celibacy. Even though you're praying for marriage, it's just confusion. It's confusion. Because I've seen women who have spent years, even someone like me, I've been saying, oh, I'm celibate, I'm celibate. And I shouldn't have actually been saying that, right? I didn't realize that I was not aligning my words with I didn't realize that I was unknowingly aligning my words with permanent singleness instead of a temporary waiting. So if you want marriage, instead, let's just try to speak like someone who's preparing for marriage. We can just say that I'm abstinent and I'm preparing for my husband. Or I'm single right now, but I'm called to marriage. Or I'm waiting for my kingdom partner. Right? We don't have to keep running around the whole, like, I'm celibate. Yes, you're abstaining until marriage, but we don't have to keep pushing that. Okay. And it's not about semantics. Like I said, it's just about aligning your confession with your calling. So recap, just a reminder, celibacy is lifelong. It's a lifelong vow to never marry. Okay. Like the nuns and the Pope. Abstinence is waiting until marriage to have sex. Okay. You're abstaining from sex. Singleness is a gift to some, but it's not a punishment for all. And most people are called to marriage, not permanent celibacy. Okay? Your words matter, so I would encourage you to speak your desired future, not just confusion. And lastly, if you burn with passion, you're probably called to marriage. My husband and I, we guide women from single to wifey with faith and strategy. So go to the link in the description box below if you want to stop waiting and start actively preparing for your husband. And that's all I have to say. My name is Jumoke Win. See you later. Bye.